Hi, everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy Coach. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to my channel. So, my topic for this week is lack. And we see this topic addressed in the world a lot of times, specifically around the idea of lack of money, abundance, wealth, prosperity, in that context. And yet, lack can show up in a lot of different ways in our lives. In addition to the aforementioned, we can experience what we feel like is lack of love, lack of peace, lack of joy, lack of fun, lack of understanding, lack of being understood. Just it can go on and on, and particularly within our relationships, our interpersonal relationships. And so I'm going to draw on two teachings from A Course in Miracles to talk about this today. So one is from the Workbook Lesson 108, which is to give and to receive our one in truth. And the other is from the 50 Miracle Principles. And specifically, it's from the CE edition, what we call the Purple Book, because it has a fuller explanation of the miracle principles, and this actually comes from part of the explanation in paragraph 19. So the miracle principle 48 is: the miracle is the only device at your immediate disposal for controlling time. Only revelation transcends it, having nothing to do with time at all. And a great deal of this explanation of this miracle principle does talk about time and space and our perception of it. But beginning in paragraph 19, Jesus talks about lack as this is the part in the Course where I'm going to talk about lack right here, right now. So listen up. And he deals with it, in that same sort of conceptual framework of time and space. But I think it's really important that we understand. So first of all, lack, we experience lack in the world in any of the ways that we seem to experience it because we believe that we can. We believe that we think we need something. We think we need money. We think we need love from other people. We need attention. We need, something that goes on with the body. Whatever it is that we perceive that we need is coming from a place of believing that we don't already have it. And that's the central difference in A Course in Miracles. So he talks about prior to the so-called separation that we experienced, where we believe we separated from God. Prior to that, there were no needs, there was no perception, and there was no concept of need. We just were swimming around in a sea of having everything, and it was just an awareness of having everything, and there was no lack, there was no perception, there was no concept of need. And then we experienced this idea, and the idea that we could go off on our own and separate from God in the first place came from a little tiny mad idea of lack in the first place. And so what needs to be healed is the idea that we are separate. That Course in Miracles teaches us that that is the only problem we have, the one problem, the one solution. In this particular section, he talks about the perception of lack is the only need you ever need to correct. And so how do we do that, right? Because we can talk about this stuff all day long, look at it and say, okay, yeah, I understand that I believe in lack, but how do we heal it? Well, so how do we get ourselves to the place where we are not experiencing lack, where we're not living from a belief that we need something or we are lacking something? And this is where, in A Course in Miracles lesson number 108, to give and to receive our one in truth, this is exactly what Jesus talks about, which is in order for us to be able to be in that place of abundance, that place of not needing anything, the place of being completely fulfilled, is to understand that as we give, we receive. And there's another place in A Course in Miracles, I believe it's in chapter 17, where he talks about only what you are only what you are not giving can be lacking in any situation. So it echoes this lesson 108. Whatever you think you need, you give it. Whether it is, if you think you need money, then give money. And this is where the concept of tithing can be very useful. It is a practice that I sometimes do and I sometimes don't do, but what I do notice is when I do it, I seem to receive money, or I seem to receive services, or I seem to receive time, or whatever it is that I am tithing. It's, whether you believe in the concept of tithing or not, the Course in Miracles does not teach that concept, and I'm not telling you should do it, but I'm telling you that that is one way of giving, and then watching what happens as you give freely, and you give to some place or someone where you feel like you are being nourished. And so you're giving from the place of gratitude. You're giving from the place of support, of strengthening whatever it is that they're doing, whatever it is that you're investing in, because you understand that giving and receiving are a circle. But it's not only limited to money. It is, if you are perceiving lack of love, for instance, in a relationship, and I have people straight up say to me, because I'm a coach and a therapist, that I hear people to say to me all the time, well, so and so isn't supporting my needs. He or she are not giving me what I need. They're not taking care of my needs. So first of all, it's nobody else's responsibility to take care of your needs. It's your responsibility to remember that you don't have needs. We perceive them in this world, but that spirit understands our perceived needs better than anybody else does. And so rather than expecting somebody in the world to fix our needs for us, which is always going to come from a place of lack and a place of fear, and so it's not going to work out the way that we want it to. But if we surrender those needs to spirit and acknowledge that we only are perceiving these needs because we believe in separation, and ask spirit to help us see the situation differently, ask for a miracle, which is a shift in perception from fear to love, so that that perception of lack can be corrected, then we're actually asking for something that can really be given and really will work out for us. And so when we perceive that something's lacking in a love relationship, to give whatever it is we think is lacking. If we don't feel like we're getting enough attention from a loved one, then giving that loved one our attention. And thinking about it in not from our perception of what we would need for attention, right? This is where the concept of the love languages, if you're familiar with that, Chapman's The 5 Languages of Love, comes in. Understanding what is the other person's concept of attention, what is the other person's concept of love. It differs from person to person in this perceptual world. And so then figuring what that out is and giving it to them, rather than sitting back and saying, well, you're not giving me what I need, so I'm not going to give anything to you and I'm going to withhold, which is what a lot of us do. That doesn't move the needle forward. I'll just tell you that right now. That doesn't make people want to love you, is when you withhold love from them. It doesn't add to your wealth when you are all Scroogey and, withhold your money and hoard it. Nothing increases when you hold on to it, when you grasp and you see it from a perspective of not enough. That does not expand anything. It only contracts. And so if you're perceiving that you don't have enough time then give your time. Give your time to helping somebody do something. Give your time to a charitable cause or some kind of a volunteer endeavor, or just, helping somebody sort something out, or helping them by just listening to them and letting them talk something out, but giving of your time. Giving of your possessions. We have I've done some teaching on this before, but if you've got stuff hanging around your house that you don't need, and it's not loved and it's not wanted and it's taking up space, and it's stuff that somebody else might totally rock and totally love, then give it to charity. So when you can get into a concept of giving, you will see yourself receiving like you cannot believe, in just all areas, and random things that you didn't even know about. Checks show up, or friends, if you're perceiving that you don't have enough friends, or your friends are all too busy, or no, people aren't making space for you in their lives. And then you get a few like funny cards and send them off to your friends, and see what happens there when you give attention in that way, or you give love, you send love off in the mail in that way. There are so many ways that you can give. And when you really understand that it is a circle, that as you put your giving into the world, it comes back in a circle, and it just keeps going around and coming back and going around and coming back. And so, what the ego would have us do is to not give, to hoard and to withhold and to be stingy, and to say no, somebody else or something else. I'm waiting for something to happen before I will then give, because that's how I know the person will deserve it, or that's how I know that it will really be, worth my time or worth my effort, is if I get something before I give it. It's completely backwards, like the entire freaking ego thought system is. It's just another way that it's backwards, like it all is, every aspect of it. And so that's what my message is for you today, is just look around your life, see if there are any areas where you are believing that you are in lack, identifying those, what they are, and then thinking about, how can I give my time, my energy, my money, my love, my attention, my possessions, or whatever else that you come up with. How can I give that? And then watch as the love and attention and abundance and just joy and fun just roll on in. So thank you so much for being with me today, and I so appreciate it. I love spending this time with you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so by clicking the button below. And then there's also a few links that you can check out below this message as well, that can help you with your living of A Course in Miracles. There are a couple of meditations, and there's a workshop on rocking your joy versus blocking your joy. And those are all free. And you can also, if you feel like you want to have a deeper experience of working one-on-one with me to help yourself to live A Course in Miracles and rock your joy and have a miraculous life, then book a free discovery call with me, which is a free coaching call. And you can kind of check out how I work and see if it might be something for you. So I'll see you next week. I love you.